Hello, class. My name is Evan Block. Today I'm going to be presenting on Chapter 3 of the textbook. The title of this chapter is Psychological Theories on Personality, and I'm also going to be using my outline as a reference, as well as pages from the textbook. So, first of all, while there are many psychological theories in personality or on personality, I guess you would say, the three most important are the psychoanalytic, the behavioral, and the phenomenological. And these are the types of theories that we are going to be talking about today. Um, so, what is a psychological theory in personality? It is a set of propositions or assumptions that seek to explain structure, function, and change of personality through empirical methods. And really, its goals is to answer these three questions here. What is the personality made of? How does the personality work or function? And how and why does the personality change? So the theoretical frameworks, um, or the model of man, as the book describes it, there's three of them. I've already mentioned them once here. The first is the psychoanalytical, also known as the homo valens or volens, the person who strives to reduce inner tensions and conflicts accumulated from their past, which is largely unconscious. The next one is behavioral, and behavioral is homo mechanicus, and is the person whose behavior is determined by the consequences of his or her actions to the immediate environment. And the last one is the phenomenological. Phenomenological. Sorry about that. And as the person who has free will to choose alternatives to create meaning in life and to fulfill their own potentialities. So the first one we're going to talk about is the psychoanalytic theory. The building blocks of the psychoanalytic framework are Eros, which is the Oedipus or Electra complex, the unconscious motivation, which is a slip of the pen or the tongue, and defense mechanism, also known as displacement. So this theory was thought of by Sigmund Freud, or kind of made famous by him. And the Freudian model is also often pessimistic. It also assumes that human life is a constant striving to reduce tensions or unpleasure, generated by an urge to live, which is known as eros, and an urge to die, which is known as thanatos. Eros is related to love and sex, while thanatos is related to death and aggression, and we deal with both of these forces unconsciously. The Freudian model of the psyche can actually be found on page 45 in the textbook. And there's three different components of the model. And those are the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is the instinct, the ego is the self, and the superego is the moral conscious. The id is unconscious, the ego is in all three levels of consciousness, and the superego is partly conscious and unconscious. The ego serves to please both the instinctual demands of the id and the moral requirements of the superego. Anxiety comes as a result of the ego not satisfying the id or the superego. And neurotic anxiety comes as a result of the dangerous id impulse. Moral anxiety comes as a result of a conflict with the superego. And reality anxiety comes as a result of a danger in the external environment. Anxiety is dealt with through defense mechanisms, including regression, denial, reaction formation, projection, displacement, rationalization, regression, and sublimation as well. And all these reactions are pathogenic, with the exception of sublimation. Freud also stated that personality development occurs in the first 4 or 5 years of life, and personality develops through a series of psychosexual stages. And each stage is characterized by an erogenous zone. These include the oral, the anal, the phallic, and the genital. And a child develops mature adult sexuality at the genital stage, which is also known as puberty. In a healthy person, the ego is strong and flexible, meaning it is able to block dangerous impulses from the id and harsh moral pressure from the superego as well. Psychoanalytical therapy works by helping a patient reintegrate unconscious materials so they can be realized consciously, and this is done through free association and dream analysis. Free association basically lets patients think through their anxieties with assistance from a psychoanalyst, and this is the classic model that you see or that you have seen maybe in TV or cartoons or something, with a patient sitting on a couch or laying down on a couch with the psychoanalyst off to the side asking them questions. And dream analysis helps patients realize what their unconscious dreams are showing them through their dreams. And Freud's theories have also been modified over time by his students by addressing issues including testability, reduction of human motivation to libido, the origins of the unconscious, personality development after puberty, cross-cultural examinations of the Oedipus complex, and how culture and social institutions affect personality as well. The next theory that I'd like to talk about is the behavioral theory. The main difference between the psychoanalysts and behaviorists is that behaviorists examine the external behavior, while psychoanalysts examine personality from within the individual or the person. Behavior is often something learned, and it can also be something that changes over time. According to B.F. Skinner, a notable behaviorist, behavior is what an organism is doing, or more accurately, what is observed by another organism to be doing. Behavior can only be observed by evidence as well. Skinner proposed a functional analysis of behavior by pushing operant behavior. And operant behavior is the idea that behavior produces consequences. Rewards reinforce certain behaviors, while punishment eliminates certain behaviors as well. And behavior is created or affected by reinforcement, and thus if the reinforcement is changed, the behavior can be changed as well. To combat mental disorders differently from the way psychoanalysts do, Skinner used contingencies or reinforcements to change a subject's behavior. So they used positive reinforcements on the behavior that was desired and negative reinforcements on the behavior that they wanted to eliminate. Skinner is also known for his contributions to learning theory, as well as his contributions to behaviorism. A short list of his contributions includes behavior modification using rewards and punishments, and programmed instruction and animal testing as well. Skinner's criticisms include a lack of personality model, environmental determinism, and it did not include the learning process without reinforcement and application of animal behavior to human behavior as well. Social learning theorists have largely agreed on two perspectives with Skinner. First, they agree that human behavior is learned rather than being unconscious. And second, the individual's response to reinforcement is up to interpretation, meaning that any subject could react differently to the same reinforcement as another subject. The last theory that I would like to talk about today is known as the phenomenological theory. And phenomenological theory is the idea that a person's personality is not solely based on one thing. It is individual, and each person can experience things in different ways. Edmund Husserl said that consciousness cannot exist by itself, and you have to be conscious of something, and that was from page 71 of the textbook. And that means that anything that grabs your attention can become important to you, but not necessarily another person, and the things that are important to you may not even be noticed by other people. And while there are many theories in the umbrella of phenomenological theory, they all have three common postulates or statements that are said to be true or to be taken as true. The first is that a person has free choice in perception and cognition. The second is that subjective experiences provide meanings to one's reality, meaning that a person's individualism kind of shapes how they look at things, and a holistic view of personality in the process of becoming as self-realization. So Carl Rogers developed the person-centered theory. This consists of the organism, the phenomenal field, and the self. And these concepts work together to form the person. The self emerges from the phenomenal field, which is what the person experiences. Rogers also said that everyone is capable of growth, and the realization of a person's potential depends on a person's interpretation of their own experiences. So, how they're really affected by their own experiences. The more consistent our experiences are with our views of the experience, the easier it is to realize what the experiences mean. And if the two are inconsistent, the result is anxiety, meaning that if you see something and you don't interpret it to be what it actually is, the result can be anxiety. In Rogerian therapy, the client must give up defenses to allow the self-concept to be consistent with their experiences. And the therapist must be genuine, have positive regard for the patient, and empathy as well. Abraham Maslow also created an optimistic view of human nature as a result of looking at what makes healthy people healthy instead of asking why sick people are sick. According to Maslow, a healthy person is the fully growing and self-fulfilling human being, and the one in whom all his potentialities are coming to full development. The one whose inner nature expresses itself freely rather than being warped, suppressed, or denied. That was taken from the textbook as well. To achieve the goal of a healthy person, Maslow created Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, and these are from bottom to top here: physiological, safety, belongingness and love, esteem, and self-actualization needs. Less than 1% of the American, or I'm sorry, not the American, less than 1% of the adult population can attain self-actualization, and the phenomenological framework started the person-centered view of the study of personality as well. And lots of research has come as a result of this approach. Critics of Maslow and Rogers state that there are problems with studying subjective views, and also that their view is generally too optimistic. And phenomenology, excuse me, is where the future of the subject lies of personality theories. So I hope you enjoyed this little video here, presentation. I'm looking forward to seeing the others as well. So thank you so much for watching.